Hello, everybody! Welcome to ZeldaSpeedRuns, broadcasting Leech of the Past Randomizer Challenge Cup 2023. We've got Group O for you today. It's Kaesden versus Derthys. Commentating for us, we have Adalor and Juber, and tracking is Lady Laura Linda. Say hello, everybody.
Hello, everybody. I'm
Hello,
Adalor.
everybody.
Thank you for the intro, Ricky. Appreciate it. Indeed, we've got Kaesden versus Derthys. We're going to be getting going in just about a minute here. We have fat keys today, which almost all the keys are shuffled around. The only ones we leave alone are the Aga Tower Smalls, and the GTBK is still somewhere in the basement. All the other keys and maps and compasses are mixed up throughout the world.
Yeah, that's going to be quite a wild hunt, and that's today a quite interesting game, Group O. And so far, nothing's been decided yet, as we were checking in the pre-commentary discussions. It's still wild in that group. The game between Kaesden and Derthys, what we're about to see, could decide or preliminary decide who's going to be placed number one. But
Yeah,
it can still be a big race for place number two.
Yeah, they are both 2-1 in the group right now, and they have this is their first head-to-head. So, yeah, it's still a bit more to see how this group plays out. But yeah, this could be kind of a big one because one of these two is going to be 3-1 after this, and then just basically right behind Raids at 4-2. Yeah, there's a lot of potential here still. You could see one of these two go 5-1 overall. So, yeah, still potential for first place.
Indeed. Or even both 4-2, and then we get quite a wild tiebreaker.
Oh yeah, the three-way
potential.
4-2 is always fun to see in a group. Yeah, and we are off because we're getting a double uncle start here.
Yep, both players starting with the best start, as some like to say.
I like Uncle Route. I usually play it myself. Depends on the mode, but usually. Guards are in the Hearts and Arrows pack, not exciting. Tier 1 is just Hearts, also not exciting.
Let's see if the uncle has something for us, something that might entice one of our runners or both our runners to go for the front of escape. It's quite unlikely to get a weapon already here, but you never know.
GT small, that's not particularly exciting. We do want a couple of those ideally, but not really big deal. Nope.
Indeed.
Just a key and a heart piece. Nothing for front of castle.
What I've seen a few times now in the FAD keys or similar modes are a start at the Sanctuary followed by a Hoolihan, and then people buying bombs and rushing to Sasrala.
Mm-hmm. Kind of like a cross keys start, yeah. You can see that sometimes.
Quite interesting in modes where you don't know yet the maps or which dungeons are crystal independent, because you get the information from Sasrala plus 3 items. If you're lucky and you get a bow, you might be enticed to go into Eastern. Big key can be still a problem though, but quite some wild variations we've seen so far.
Kaesden is killing a few extra enemies, trying to set up for his tier 2 or 3 tree pull. I think he's at 4 now. There's a bomb drop on the Chew, and tier 3 is blue rupees. Bush crabs have full magic, so that's occasionally useful, but not overall great.
Not interesting for the start of the game, yeah. But later, if you're in need of magic.
Ooh,
well,
that's a spicy mirror on Lumberjack. Oh, well then.
Yeah, so both runners will be looking for their boots.
Yep.
as soon as possible, because that
boots
mirror...
Yeah, boots and a couple swords or a sword and a cape. Yep. Thankfully we don't have to hunt for the keys, because those are just in the tower. Yep.
Yeah, and I think what both runners might hope for is swamping a crystal, because otherwise these boots can be quite late in the game, potentially in GT.
Mm-hmm. Got Pearl at the mushroom spot, and 50 rupees at the drop down, getting us closer to 100 for our CAC money, or just at least bottle vendor. Kaesden's been doing a good job killing Chews for bomb drops here. They're in the bomb pack at least. He's got a couple. And 2 is usually pretty good for CAC. Like 3 is definitely secure, but 2 you usually get one more bomb pack from the the top 10 checks there, so we're probably good to go. But he's got at least enough money to buy bombs if he needs to.
Indeed, because if I'm not mistaken, he's going to be able to pay the bottle vendor and also to farm a bit of money through the pots in the well as well as Blind's Hut. So he should be at 150 top, so total. And
Like
then he can buy himself.
He's a little bit slower getting into CAC here, but you already see like he's just set up to have a better CAC run overall by the way of just having the bombs and the money farmed up ready to go. So it'll work out well for him.
Yeah. At the same time, I like what Derthys did, trying his free check and then saying, okay, I don't have bombs, I'm gonna buy some now because I don't want to risk a potential double dip of the well or Blind's Hut. Quite costly time-wise.
Yeah, you really don't want to go into those twice. You got a skull small in the back of Chicken Hut. Nothing too exciting there. You like to have one skull small. There's Samaria in the back of blinds for Kaesden.
So that's our first weapon. That's not ideal, but that should do the job when it comes to the minimal dome cave.
Yep, at least you don't have to worry about throwing bombs at him and running out and being in an awkward situation or anything. Yeah.
Indeed, especially with your 4 hearts. Well,
there's a sword.
And then let's see if we get some bombs as well, which would bail Kaesden out.
Nope, 3 big 20s in a row. Jeez, okay.
So
no bombs in CAC.
That bailed Derthys out because he's got exactly the amount of money needed for the bottle vendor.
Yeah, it was just a loss of 80. Okay, well, Kaesden can buy bombs on his way out. He's got enough for it, so...
Yeah, his early farming with a triple level 2 was quite useful.
Yeah.
So, and after that, we're gonna see then the... Sorry, you go on.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
So after that, we'll see another check that is blocked by the boots, which is the library. It would be interesting if we see another progression item, because that would enable our runners to pinpoint or triangulate where the boots can be, or also estimate where they can't be.
Mm-hmm.
They already know that they're definitely gonna need the boots for this Aga ledge or for this lumberjack. But having more information as to whereabouts of the boots will be quite helpful.
Alright, so Derek is going to be just a few seconds ahead getting out of CAC. We'll get down to library, check that out, look at the maze, and we'll probably head south after this. Look for the next bit of density. Library, very unexciting, just an arrow pack. Nothing special there.
Yeah. Derthys going straight for the item of the race game. That's something that you can usually see on FAD keys or key sanity modes, because the probability of having an item there is quite high compared to normal open mode or standard mode.
Yeah.
I like that play.
And we have, an armor upgrade. That's one of those things like you look at it and say, but when you're already halfway through the maze, you're like, oh, I'll grab that. Heck yeah.
Yeah, similar thing with maps. If you're below and just trying to check and you see some maps, okay, forget that. But good information otherwise that you would like to get if you already gambled.
Yeah.
Okay, both going for the south, for the south of Hyrule play. Quite logical. The biggest density of items now. No gloves, so going front of escape might be risky.
Yeah, especially since you're much less likely to have the small key in castle. There's our first medallion. That could be occasionally useful. Now we do have a sword. You could actually use that on mini Moldorm Cave, and that's not a bad use of it early on.
And actually, if we timed that, I think that would be actually the fastest way for current setup, right?
Yeah, I think just a quarter magic bar to just nuke the whole room and be done with it in a few seconds, compared to having to throw Samaria blocks or whatever. Or a second sword for the sunken treasure.
Oh, and some divergence. Now we've got Kaesden going straight for the Agina play, potentially also checking the Desert Ledge. Interesting, that's an early information. And depending on what there is there, it can be game changing.
Could be good knowledge. That's just 300, a lot of money, but not super exciting.
Yeah.
And unlikely we'll be able to access that anytime soon. Let's say, mini Molder McKay, what do we have? 20 rupees, another sword already. There's a bomb, our first bomb pack finally. Another 20 and another 20. Okay, well, we take a sword.
I mean, you're not even 10 in the seed and you're already at tempered level. That's nice. And any of the two players that would think they have an advantage in execution over their opponent won't feel that good now, because being already in, let's say, easy mode when it comes to damage output, you know that you've conceded an advantage to your opponent because the playing field has been evened.
Yeah, when the game feeds you so much weaponry so early, yeah, just okay, well, now it's just about who makes the right rando decisions. We've got Ice Rod Cave come up here, while Kaesden's getting into MMC. Anything good over here on the long walk? It's an arrow pack. Nope.
An interesting Derthys is not going for the fake flipper. Doesn't have the Zora money, which is then understandable, but since he has already the Moon Pearl, he could have gotten the Waterfall Fairy, potentially stacked with money, which would enable him to get the Zora check. But more importantly, also the Zora Ledge check is quite interesting, because if you get the flippers later on, you know that you're gonna prioritize going back there.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see if Kaesden decides to do the same with a save and quit, or if he wants to invest his time on these out of logic checks.
Saha tells us our green pendant is Eastern, as it just is in vanilla, you know.
Yep.
Ooh, hammer.
Hammer is nice to get early on. That's another key to our Dark World access. And
just need a glove.
Yep, indeed. And also, if we get the mushroom, we could also do out of logic the mushroom check. Getting the mushroom will put this check in logic itself.
Okay, so Kaesden has opted also not for the fake flippers and instead going to head into front of castle. You've got 3 swords at this point. This is a pretty much a breeze to get through.
Yep, that's actually the best situation to be in when you don't have the mirror yet, because damage output, you one-shot every enemy, and we only have 3 or 4 hearts, which means that the Death Warp will not be difficult to set up. And even if you get unlucky and get a piece of heart or a sank heart, you're still gonna be able, with bombs or maybe with another guard, to still die quite fast.
TR small on the first check of castle.
So we're basically now gloves or a lamp away from Dark World access. Quite interesting. Getting the flute would open us a few checks on the mountain, but nothing, actually not that much so far. 2 checks, 1 out of logic with the old man, and 1 information. However, the early save and quit point would be nice.
Another small key in the front. That's a Meyer small this time. Okay. Another one that's kind of like just nice to have at least one of those from outside to route the dungeon easier.
Yeah, and there's only 2 checks available on Kaesden's side. Only one of them in actually none of them in logic.
Yeah. Ooh, flippers in Eastern for Derthys.
Okay, and that's quite unfortunate for him now. Only 154 rupees. Potentially progression on Zora. And without the gloves, he doesn't have possibility to set up a Julian anymore. So that could be a long farming.
He's gonna take a death warp out of the cell. We're gonna go ahead and take a walk to Dark Cross, while Derthys is also working on the dark right side of Eastern. We'll go get a look at the big key chest, and then we are done in this dungeon for now. Early Eastern dip, one of those things you might think, well, it's without the big key in particular, you're leaving it behind at least 2 items. But sometimes you just got the stuff you need in the early Eastern. There's a key to pod, one of our 6 pod smells.
I mean, I understand the early play of Eastern on Derthys side. You don't have that much items, or let's say you're 1 item away from Dark World access, but you don't have much access to the other ways. Either go to the castle or go there. Coin flip. And I mean, we got the hammer there, which is quite kind of interesting thing to get. Thing also you'll need anyway.
Yeah. Kaesden pulls another pod small out of Dark Cross. That's 2 we've seen already. Both are currently locked by lamp or fire rod in the case of Dark Cross. Interesting that the pod smalls are in the darkness. That just kind of makes sense. There's a heart piece in the island. And Derthys is making use of flippers. Go ahead and straight to the guy on the bridge here. If they could see each other, they'd have a little bit of almost a high five right now. One on the bridge, one going underneath. And he's got a bomb pack. All right. Kaesden will be getting his hammer momentarily. Derthys opts to save and quit. Let's see where he heads next.
Interesting choice, actually, since he could have. Okay, understand now.
I think he's waiting for Zora money before committing to that area. It looks like, yeah.
Indeed. I was wondering why he didn't go forward, but yeah, it makes sense when you have only this low amount of money to go there. Yeah.
Yeah, we could very well just see. I mean, it looks like it's going to take them both a bit to get up there now because they're both hesitant. Yeah, you don't want to leave Zora behind if you can help it, and you've got, especially when in Derthys' side, you've seen early flippers. You're thinking, well, that just makes Zora definitely logical. So yeah. It's an awful check to isolate because it's so very much out of the way.
Yeah. And actually, we only have 4 checks left from our omniscient perspective, and one of them requires quite a bit of money.
Yeah.
And because of the flippers, we cannot do Violian anymore. I don't. Did we see a stun price check on one of our 2 players?
I don't know if I've seen stun price.
Because at this stage, you really hope for a red rupee stun price.
That would be like potentially saving the game here, really. If it is on Zora when you really need to farm money, yeah.
And Derthys will be the first of our 2 players to run out of checks, I think. Although, oh no, he also has Dark Cross to do.
Yeah, they're going to be
so
pretty close.
That's going to be quite head-to-head.
Yeah. They've both been pretty efficient so far. Reasonably similar routes. I mean, they're just cleaning up after each other. So they're just taking some damage on the ball and chain, getting ready for that death warp. Kaesden's got his flippers now. Yeah. Blue mail bombs only do half a heart. It would take too long to get 3 of them, so you'd rather just go grind on the green garden, sent back to the entrance.
And I think that Derthys held his breath for a short second as he got his piece of highlight. Please no, please no
Don't refill. Yeah.
That's happened so often. I think if there's a player here or a runner that whom it has never happened before, I'm just gonna call bluff on that. It's especially annoying if you are doing this escape like at the 50th minute mark, you already red mail 12
Yeah.
hearts, and then you get a refill.
Yeah. And somehow you still don't have a mirror yet, and you're just like, ugh. At that point, I think you just save and quit and walk back in if you're really set on Dark Cross, because I think it's faster at that point.
Yeah, potentially, and even if not, at least walking is less frustrating.
Yeah. Just looking for the chest in the dark here in Dark Cross. Push up against it right there, I think. There it is. We'll nudge against it. Oh, maybe not.
Quite a useful trick when you're at that place is to go full right, then go a bit up, down, and still go on the right, so that you see your your sword shifting a bit, and then the moment you're under the torch, you just need to go full left until you hit the chest, and then you just need to go like a small down, left, and open.
Kaesden there was making like he wanted to hula hand. He got to the spot and he's like, wait, I just got flippers. Dang it. Can't do this. What do I do here? Derthys still has to walk to Agina, actually. So, yeah, Kaesden's going to be probably first to get to the actual Zora area checks.
It'll be indeed. We really see on Derthys' side, is going for the low, let's say, low density checks. He is really looking for his money.
Mm-hmm.
It's a shame for both runners that the flippers were in the middle of an item chain, because otherwise when you're smelling the Zora check or the Zora required element of the seed, either you've done your holy hand before or you get the flippers, you just reset, just so that you get your holy hand out of the way.
Yeah.
I had a race like that in my group. The flippers were sanctuaries, and I looked at the VOD later on, and both me and my opponent, we did the same. We spawn sank, we opened the chest, we reset, and then we just went. Like, we went for a hoolihan, and then yeah, that was quite interesting.
Yeah, because you get those flippers at any time, basically, if you know there's something easy like sank. Yeah. Okay, what's in Waterfall? Lamp and a big key to Hera. Okay. That's almost mountain access. Actually, that's Aghanim right there. We got a lamp and 2 swords.
And frankly, that's lamp. That Aghanim, once you've done Aga, you've got access to the Hype Cave. And then the South of Dark World.
Yeah, we have a pearl already too. Like this is I think that tells you, well, you're not getting Zora money, definitely just go climb AT. You know you have to anyway, because 1, there's a mirror on Lumberjack. 2, it's all dungeons.
Indeed, and under other circumstances, our runners would have waited for the boots to do the Aga climb because it would be quite shorter. But yeah, it really looks like an Aga required seed, and if it's not Aga required for the Dark World access, nobody's gonna farm 200, 300 worth of rupees.
Exactly. Like the only way you figure your opponent's getting that Zora item before you is that they gambled on a hula hand before finding flippers, basically. Just said, what if I need this money? And just, I don't know. I don't think that's very likely in this situation.
Yeah.
Unless Zora has just a glove, actually, or like a book or something that opens more checks, like this is definitely the correct call.
I mean, the moment you don't have the money and didn't do the Yulihan, going the other way is definitely the best, because if progression was there and you opponent did the Yulihan, you know that you are way behind because of the time you spend farming money. So you need to go another route. So yeah, Aga climb, and so we're seeing the F from the AD keys or fat keys. No surprise in the 2 chests here.
Yeah, we just put those keys in their vanilla spots just to make it so you're not having to hunt for both of them in order to climb AT, because it's an all dungeons thing. You do have to clear this tower at some point, and it's one of the worst things in key sanity shuffles when you're just like hunting for one agate tower small. It's
tower, yeah.
basically an ice rod hunt at that point.
And that's what, in my opinion, makes the FAD keys way more palatable and fun to run.
Yeah.
Because for whatever reason, the second castle tower key is so often badly placed. GT big chest or climb of GT pre-mold or whatever, that it's just not fun. So having FAD keys where you know you've got the fun of looking for keys to access dungeons, but not the hassle of a castle tour, that's perfect.
Right, Kaesden is up to the top floor here. We'll be getting into the fight in just a few seconds while Derthys is starting his climb. Well, not starting his climb. He's up to the 4th floor already. Not too far behind. So once we're in Dark World here, we'll have no West Dark World access. Well, no, we have Hammer, so we can go down towards Hype Cave all the way over to Dig Game, and then we'll have access to Pod, but nothing as far as like Northwest Dark World, like Skull and Village area, not yet.
Indeed, hopefully some money so that the Zora check can be done later on. Question will be whether a runner wants to go straight for Pod, or if they want to first go for the Hype Cave. I mean, they don't have a bow, so they would definitely need to sacrifice one key for the front entrance. With only 2 keys, they don't have logical access to the back.
Yeah.
Because that one requires 3. And I mean, you can hope for either a bow or maybe the big key or small keys inside the Hype Cave. That's also bigger density. So do you think our runners will do that or risk the pod play?
I feel like either way is an okay play at least. I personally think in this I would go south, just go straight for Hype. Hype Stumpy, Dig Game, you've got a solid 7 checks that direction. And you know you're not going to get probably 2 gloves on that way anyway. You're just dealing with the saving quit at the end regardless. Pyramid Ledge is a bomb pack, whatever. But then I think it's also not terribly uncommon to see when you've got 2 pod smalls, you can just head in because you can spend one on the front and then one in the back, and you know that you're getting your items in the back that are locked by 4 keys, but like. You can still get a bunch of checks out of the way in pod with just 2 keys. And then depending on your proficiency at mimic clipping, you may just do the right side anyway.
Yep. Also, if you're able to do the bomb jump, the hammer jump, if you find progression on the left, like in the dark maze, it's quite good because then you're able to triangulate where the last pod keys can be or will be. Or better said, where they won't be.
Hype Cave. All right, first bottle and a glove. Okay. All right, well, that's normal Dark World access. Hype was the correct play.
Yep. And so actually that's quite good then to... that routes itself well together, these 2 items, the bottle as well as the gloves, because Kaesden will be able... first to check the back of escape, but then after that check Sigkeet and then go into the West Dark World. Quite a huge density of items plus information with a bumper ledge, but dips are possible.
50 rupees on Stumpy. Looks like Derthys is going to head for Pod. Some more divergence. I like it. It's always nice to see it from a race perspective.
Yep. And some thoughts for our tracker, Lady Laura Linda, because divergence in key sanity means, well, you need to be able to watch both screens at the same time.
Yeah. I try to call out a key when I spot it just to help him out, yeah. How many digs do we have for whatever we're getting?
That's a lot of digs.
19 digs for a green rupee. Great prize. Thanks.
And not that much money that got dug out.
Yeah.
Still quite away from Zora money. Derthys
Not even
is
halfway.
really away from his Zelda money since he paid $110 just to enter his castle that he cannot finish.
Kaesen's gonna go ahead and immediately take that glove and knock out the rest of the checks in the back of escape. Get this dungeon completely cleaned out. And we have a heart piece and a small keyed pod. All right, and a quake medallion. Okay.
So logically, the back is in logic now. Quite interesting.
Yeah, having 3 keys and a hammer, you can actually, you can logically access the back. You're correct.
Yeah, and you can't access the dark maze. You can't access the big key chest or the harmless hallway. But I mean, a bit of hammer jump here, a bit of mimic leap there, makes a lot of things possible in this dungeon.
All right, there's a key to GT in the Stalfos basement.
That's the kind of keys you don't want to see that early on, because you'd rather see keys from other dungeons that you need to do earlier.
Yeah. And Derthys will go ahead and just take that second key and go spend it to open the door to the back, which gets 3 more checks in logic we know now, and you can get a couple more if you jump into Dark Maze. Kaesen's going to head through the village portal, and we'll get into probably Skullfront or village, wherever he decides. Yeah, Skullfront.
I mean, especially in key sanity modes, Skullwoods, even without the fire rod, there are so many potential items, you don't want to leave that behind and wait for a fire rod. That can cost a lot of races.
All right, they're just going to get finally a good chunk of that money here from the rupee basement. I mean, at this point, you got to think you've got some dark world access, and you're on the right path logically. You're not as concerned about getting Zora money at this point.
Yep, you know you'll get it at some point, and okay, looks like he's going for the hammer jump.
Yep. Kaesen's finding so far just some maps and compasses over here and a red rupee. Waiting to see if Skullfront has anything interesting. We do have the Samaria, so we can go get the middle chest with relative ease, especially with having 3 swords. If we need to kill the Gibdos, it's not a big deal. Myers Small and Skull's Pinball, that's 2 of those.
Right, and from Derthys' perspective, we'll see if we have any items blocked by 6 keys, 6 small keys of pod, but a map so far. Big chest can't be open yet, and well,
there's some of that money. Finally. All right, we don't have the mirror yet, so saving quite just lands us back in the light world like normal. And Derthys will go ahead and just use that portal now at the castle entrance, and probably head down towards Hype, most likely. Yeah, that's where we're going. This is towards Hype, yeah.
That's also his only possible play now. He doesn't have the gloves yet, so he can't check Catfish.
Yeah, right. We gotta get the glove first.
And Skullwoods didn't have anything of importance.
No, Skullfront, very dry.
Bit disappointing. I'm used to better outputs from Skullwoods than that. That's a red meringue on the bumper ledge that we're never gonna get, I believe.
The objectively better boomerang will not be obtained. Derthys gives us a quick map check. We've got a red crystal on Swamp and a pendant mire. And the other 2 are normal crystals at Skull and Thieves. The prizes aren't super important in AD keys, but the special ones can be a big deal sometimes.
Specials can be a big deal. Also, knowing which one are pendants is a good information to have when you're nearing end game and you are missing a few keys, small or big, or items to access these dungeons. You can then gamble or decide in routing, okay, do you want to go mode over dungeons and then rush the GT to look for these items or not?
Ooh, there's a bow and brewery for Kaesen. Hera and Swamp. I would say Hera is the other red crystal, as given to us by the bomb vendor.
That's going to be quite good for Kaesden, his bow, because he hasn't been to pot yet, meaning that he'll be able also to do the right side that Derthys didn't do. That could be spicy.
All right, Kaesden will go ahead and get into the front of Thieves Town. 4 items accessible, 4 locked by the big key. Ooh, hookshot first chest. Love to see that. That is, that's a lot of mountain access all of a sudden.
That's all of the light rail access. That's Tower of Era as well.
Book for the second check. All right, Thieves Front is loaded already. Cool.
And we've only done half of it.
Yeah, got 2 more coming. We could get even more good stuff here.
And while Derthys is digging for his 1 rupee, would be a bit disappointed when he sees that.
Third check, big key to TR. All right, that's important. And a small key to TR. Okay.
Okay. Really interesting yield in Fifth Town.
Yeah.
And Kaesden is going straight for the mountain. I think he's hoping to get a big key of pod so that he's able to single deep pod when he goes there.
Yeah, that would be ideal. Or maybe not. Anything back into village.
Maybe he forgot to check the sick kid.
Oh yeah, we did have, yeah, that's true. We did have that 1 bottle in hype. It's our first bottle so far, and only. And we have an arrow pack. Okay.
Not a huge time loss. At least that's out of for that one thing again.
Yeah. No. Do a little high five here. 1 going into CAC, the other 1 heading out.
Yeah, Derthys doing the, in my opinion, better routing of first checking the Sikit and then diving into the Dark World.
Mm-hmm.
I would have expected Kaesden to actually do it the same way Derthys is doing now. But hey, to each their own routing.
Yeah, I mean, it's possible you're just not thinking about that 1 check there because you're focused on, okay, it's time to go to Village and get into Dark World and go to Skull, and you're just like, you just forget about it. It's entirely, it does happen. He's on his way up the mountain now, fully in logic with a lamp and a glove. And we're going to have a lot of that accessible with the hookshot too.
So this seed is actually railroading us quite hard because you need to dip a bit here, a bit there, and you're forced to the mountain. 4th key of pod. Wow.
Yeah, 4 pod smalls already, and with lamp and hammer and bow, actually, we're actually pretty much just missing the big key, and that dungeon's almost full clearable now.
It's actually full clearable if you skip the front entrance and do the hammer jump.
Yeah, if you take some extra time to skip around that, yeah, you can definitely just full clear the dungeon.
Takes a bit too much time if you don't have a mirror.
Mm-hmm.
But that's doable if you are intent on full clearing the dungeon and never having to go back again.
Yeah. See a small key on top of Spec Rock. Can't access that yet, so that'll have to be kept in mind for later. Yeah, and we know where the mirror is, so it's just like, ideally you're holding out for your pod big and your mirror, and then you can just take a total jaunt through that dungeon. And also by then hoping you find at least a 5th pod small to make that route just like significantly easier. So.
Oh yes, getting the 5th pod is open the front and then just rush through everything.
Yeah, and with how much else we have to do right now, like the entire Light Mountain, we're not in any rush to get to pod just yet. Oh, there's a second glove in Paradox 2.
Whoa. So that actually we can potentially go inside Turtle Rock as well. Wow.
That's like, yeah, that's Dark Mountain. We now have access to Hookshot Cave, Super Bunny, and Yeah, maybe TR. We have 2 medallions and a Samaria. This could be a very long mountain trip, actually.
We've got one small of TR, so we can also dive a bit inside the dungeon.
Big key to... Oh, there's the pod big in Paradox. All right.
So that's quite great for Kaesden, because Kaesden will be able to finish the dungeon in one go. And very nice from him, he saw the fairy pop or spawn and knows that his variable for bomb jobs is done for, so he's resetting the super tile. That's quite good. Because otherwise, if he had tried straight on to do his bomb jump, he would have fallen.
Knockback would have been incorrect, yeah. Another visible smolky on the island, thanks. We're getting taunted further by visible smolkies.
So 2 smolkies blocked by the blocked by the boots.
By the mirror. Yeah, the boots into mirror, yeah. Okay, so we'll go ahead and head into Tower of Hera. We're gonna check the ether tablet first, however. No better time to do it than right now.
So, and one thing that's quite interesting actually when we see the information of our crystals, Swamp being a red crystal means that we won't have to look for our boots in GT, which is a relief.
Yep, because the boots hard lock the mirror. You need the mirror to get to Swamp, so... We know we're going to get those boots at some point before we have GT access. First tech in Hera is just a heart piece in the cage. We do not have the small key, so we're going to be missing out of the dungeon or the basement check. Oh no. We do have the big key, of course, we can climb, and a hook shot to make the climb faster. There's our second bottle in the map chest.
So this the Era dip without the small key, that could be a bit tilting maybe for Derthys. Because Derthys played earlier this afternoon another game in this group. And his go mode item was in the
oh no
in the basement, and I think he did at the end of the day three dips. So yeah.
Eastern. We already know Eastern's green. That's not a helpful map. Okay.
Right. So
Derthys
is not that far behind. He's gonna finish his own checks of 5th turn, and I think then he only has the mountain open, same as for Kaesden.
Yeah.
I don't see him going into part just to check the right side.
Moldorm has a big key to thieves. Okay, well that's a the bouncing up to Terra to get your big key to thieves and go back down to actually clear the dungeon. Fair enough. Just key sanity things.
Love to see required double dips.
Yep. And chat making a good point here too. Actually, technically we don't know for sure that this is an Agaseed. We could just have a flute on Zora, but that's it's very extremely likely that we just have an Agaseed here. Yeah, not 100% sure just yet. And to be honest, we may never see that big fish check at this point. It's so isolated, and we still in Kaesden didn't have Zora money yet still. So, and how much money does Derthys have right now? Oh, okay, Derthys is enough, but yeah, not exactly. Again, not trying to get up to there just yet. I think if we see Zora, it's going to be after the mirror, and we do like a catfish into Zora check.
Yep, although I wouldn't put it. I think that if Kaesden goes to party, then do catfish afterwards. And
yeah, maybe.
I mean, if we have the boots now in the dark at Death Mountain, then okay, he'll be able to do that. But otherwise, it's going to be quite difficult. And chat wishing ill on both runners with boots on Zora. Just something that I've thought about, and it's like, no, that's just too wrong. Played on stream, so I'm glad that the chat wrote it for us.
That's just mean, yeah.
That just feels wrong, you know.
All right, Kaesden going to go ahead and open up the TR portal because we are going to need that active for later. And there's a 2 out of 3 chance we can just open the dungeon right now. As long as it's not Bombos, we're going to give it an open. It is indeed Ether. That was the first one we got.
And you're 43 minutes into the seed, you haven't done a single crystal yet, but you can deep Turtle Rock. I
Yeah.
love key sanities.
We have access to just 2 checks in TR right now, but I mean, that is 2 checks that are accessible. Head into Super Bunny Hookshot Cave first.
If we get 1 or 2 other small keys of TR here, that will be quite spicy.
Yeah.
Because we could go to the big chest.
Desert Small. Okay, well, that's a nice small key to have for later.
For later, indeed, but that's also the kind of small keys that you don't like to see right now, because you don't have the big key, you don't have the flute and mirror, you don't have the boots, which means that it's gonna take a while to get there.
Mm-hmm.
Well, speaking of boots...
In the bonk shot chest.
Alright, so we got now our mirror.
Last sword. Okay.
Okay. So now going into desert is a bit more friendly, a bit more welcoming. You get faster there, you can do the torch as well. And Derthys just got his bow, his big key of pod, after having dipped it already. Don't feel that good for it.
There's okay, sure, Ice Rod and DR, as you do.
I'm just not gonna comment on that. I played the 5th.
Lately, I've seen a lot of progression items in TR Compass Chest specifically, and it just doesn't surprise me anymore.
I think I've seen at least 2 seeds this week alone, where the chest where we just found the Ice Rod had the Fire Rod.
Okay.
I think that was like another French player, Dark Wolf, had that on his feed. Where you have actually just this one check available in TR, and he goes there, finds it, and is able to full clear the dungeon all of a sudden. That's crazy.
Yeah.
And we got our 5th small of pod.
In the Chomp's chest, yeah.
So... Wow.
Just a map in King's Tomb, the useless map at that. There's this got his 2nd bottle there in the map chest of Hera. Gonna do a little Hera pot, get up the tower.
So for Kaesden, that's actually really optimal. He's got 5 small of pod, he's got the big key, he's got the hammer, he's got everything.
Get this mirror too. Like this is exactly what we're talking about, like holding out until you can have all these tools to really full clear that dungeon. Even the map, you're not gonna get lost either.
The full pod care package.
Yep. We're good to go for that dungeon.
Yeah, and Derthys got trolled by the fairy.
The only thing that makes it better at this point would be getting the Eastern bigs. You can mirror to Eastern and finish that too after you're done.
That's evil.
Just gonna give it
actually quite practical, but that would bring such a huge advantage to Kaesden. Yeah, and Derthys out of bombs, but especially his problem was that first he didn't do the correct setup for the Erapod, and afterwards one of the enemies dropped a fairy, which just messes the variables for the bomb jump. So it was simply not possible for him. Oh, that's
got
just
tagged by a mini mold arm. Yeah. Kaesden map check showed us we have also crystals on Pod and Turtle Rock. That puts our last pendant down to either desert or ice. Or just gets the Herapod on the next attempt after getting hit by a mini Moldarm on the big chest floor. And Kaesden will head into Pod, and again with 5 keys and the big and mirror, bow, hammer. This is a nice full clear of the dungeon. We'll be busy in here for a few minutes, but we're walking out with nothing left. The checks we haven't seen in this dungeon are the 2 on the right side, the big chest, and the boss itself, of course, and the big key chest, yeah, and harmless Hellway.
Indeed. So Derthys on his way to get also his first crystal. A red one at that.
Ooh, Moldarm being a bully.
So now we are one swamp small key away.
Ooh.
Whoa.
Going for the ledge hover.
That's flexing.
Oh, well done, Kaesden. Wow,
Really
okay.
Great.
Very well done. I was not aware he'd go for the ledge hover. I haven't seen him do it. There's Thieves Small on the right side of Pod. Okay. That's now a full clearable Thieves Town.
And I just hope for Derthys that he will then also go to Pod before going to Town, because that Thieves Small could hide something quite interesting.
And then Kaesden says he's on the right side and you have everything you need to go to the boss. You can do that now and then re-enter and clean up the dungeon from there. Just routes pretty well. Filling up on hearts for the basement. So you can just use sword beams to hit the switch.
Interesting use of the potion, especially before the fight against Selma. I understand the advantage of using the sword beams to go fast in the rooms, but with a hook shot or the bow, that's actually not that time consuming. It would be just a shame if you happen to get some difficulties on the boss fight.
Yeah. We are still at, despite being nearly an hour in, we are only rocking 6 hearts, or on Kaesden's side, 7 on Derthys with Blue Mail. So we're not like super healthy yet.
But on the other side, we've got the Blue Mail and we've got Tempered or the Butter, depending on which side we're looking at.
Yeah. And Derthys will be shortly getting his 4th sword.
And his boots will be able to be a bit faster.
Yeah. Kaesden's taken down the Helma. Got his crystal. Up to 2 of those now. I mean, in this mode, we can just say it's 2 out of 12 dungeons completed. Well, 3 actually. We've already climbed AT, but yeah. We're a quarter of the way done. Our dungeon clearing rate will speed up significantly once we're later in the seed and we've got more of the items, and particularly like the big keys and whatnot. We need to actually clear dungeons.
So after the clear of Pod, I expect Kaesden to go for Thieves Town, especially after having gotten the small key.
Mm-hmm.
That's a dungeon you need to do. You can full clear it, and partially will open up some more mobility or some more progression, so that you can access either swamp, for example, if you get the swamp small. Maybe some big keys. Fire Rod would be nice also to be able to then do ice and Skullwoods. Because otherwise, if we don't get any progression, we'll be railroad into going to Desert Palace potentially.
Yeah, the fire will be extremely nice to find. Because then, you can even just like going into Thieves, you can then finish up Skull while you're back there too. So Derthys opting not to dip into TR, which is fine. You've got just a fire rod and a pod small there, so whatever. He's not missing out on much technically.
Yeah, he's not missing out much. His choice also was not so a choice, but rather he opened. So he went into the Dark Death Mountain from the bottom, and without the mirror, he could not open again.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I mean, at some point he'll go there. Once he gets a few more small keys.
All right, in Harmless we have a heart piece. Nothing exciting there. Kaesden's now 3 checks away from being done with pod.
Yeah, and only one we haven't seen yet.
Yep.
Which is the big chest.
We'll get that one first, and we'll know for sure what this dungeon has or hasn't had for us. Which altogether, not a lot. We've seen Thieves Town small, a GT small, and maybe... Oh, just a compass. All right. Really not much in pod, yeah. Derthys has his mirror now.
One thing also to note is that we have actually Swamp open for 1 check. And that...
Yep.
that can be nasty. It has already been nasty a few times in the past.
Yeah, that vanilla swamp small could be particularly awful when you're in a full keys mode and you're just like really holding off on doing the taking the time it takes to get to open swamp and just for that 1 check, and turns out it's the vanilla small key and you're just like, ugh.
Indeed.
Why have
And
you
it's
done
also,
this?
It's also quite fully understandable to not do that, except if you're playing against another runner, which who you know is better than you in execution, in terms of execution, and so you that's a kind of gamble you can do, and if it pays off, then you need to bank on that. But it's quite unlikely.
You need to make a kind of a wild play, yeah. He isn't getting caught up on map information. Showing us again, we are down to just pod or ice for our last pendant.
Yep, we can dip desert, but we cannot dip ice yet.
Yeah, we're lacking a way to get into ice.
And here we'll soon see potentially a game-changing or game-deciding thing. Both runners are in Thieves Town, but only Kaesden has the small key, which was in pod. The small key of Thieves Town. And if the big chest has something, that can be quite huge.
Yeah, considering Derthys is going to be leaving that chest behind completely here and is quite unlikely to come back for it. It'd be close to a last location, if not actually last location, if there's something important here. But we'll have to see. Attic just as a bomb pack here. 3 items remaining to see in Thieves Town.
The artist needs to be careful, only 1.5 hearts. He's got blue mail, but most enemies here still hit like a truck.
Yeah.
And the blind fight will not be kind either.
He's
got a blue potion.
Yeah, that's right. He has a blue too. Yeah, true. Yeah, it's intended to be the 4th dungeon in the Dark World, so things hit reasonably hard here.
I would expect Derthys to use a few pots here, since they have hearts indeed.
Here's a heart for you, actually, in the cell chest.
Yeah. And by the way, with that last scene, or prize or stun prize, which is a full magic.
Okay.
Which is quite nice. And now the moment of truth. What do we have in the big chest?
I mean, very likely it's not anything important, but we'll, in a moment here, see if there is anything. It is just a heart. Okay. Nope, we're okay there.
Yeah. We're fine. Or let's say Derthys is fine.
Yeah.
But the moment he gets this small key, and if he starts being near last locating progression, that he
Yeah.
might decide to go there again, which is not very good. And that stays in your mind as a runner.
Ooh.
Derthys, your potions.
Should have drank the potion, yeah. Blind fight went off script, it hit 4, and then it was just kind of, once you're off script in blind fight, it goes completely haywire.
Especially when you don't have a fire shield, you can't deflect anything.
Kaesden keeping the script just fine. And we're gonna get a bomb pack. All right. Well, nothing in the back of Thieves really. So just the front was the big payout for us.
Yep. So we're down to either Desert Palace or first chest of Skullwoods, of Swamp Palace,
Yeah.
or Bombo's Tablet, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. I mean, with the Bombos Tablet and the first check Swamp being available, you could say, okay, well, I can put those two together at least. But I think. And then like mirror into desert from there. Okay. Oh, we also have Grave Ledge.
Yeah, and also the Smith Chain.
True that. Yes.
But
I mean, you could do Smith Chain, drag purple
Overworld.
down there, kind of do everything all at once. Yeah.
Yeah. Everything in the Overworld. And second try, better try for Derthys. Getting as well as crystal.
Big Key and Grave Ledge. That's going to go to Desert Palace. Oh, that's beautiful to find right now, actually.
Oh.
That's like the best thing to find right now. That tells you, okay, desert's at the end of this route I was thinking about. I can now clear that dungeon.
Yep.
Kaesden's gonna catfish Zora potentially.
Looks that way. It's a play that I like, because Catfish and Zora are now really isolated, and being at Graveyard Ledge, it's the nearest point you'll ever be to have both his checks done at once. I like it.
Derthys has spotted a small key and hammer pegs. It's gonna go to Skull Small, whatever. Every small key at this point we're really hoping it's the Swamp Small, so we don't have something awful like we're holding on Swamp for longer and longer, waiting for that small key. Yeah, I like this move from Kaesden because like you said, it's as close as they're ever going to be, and Zora has been available for quite some time, like logically available, and you got to think like those early logical available checks can just hide stuff from you. Like you could be missing like a flute or something that could be available a long time ago.
And at this stage, come to think of it, so Desert is like, it's big on your map. It's like just flashing at you saying, hey, come to me, come to me, come to me. But
it really is.
You have Swamp on the way.
Yeah.
Do you maybe first go to the mountain? Yep, like Kaesden's doing. You've got 2 small keys of that are mirror locked.
Yep.
And you've gotten a lot of small keys of other dungeons, but the small swamp. I mean, if Kaesden gets the small swamp here, that's perfect.
It's giant. You can now route those 2 dungeons together, and if you want to move all those overworld checks at the same time too, like that's just a huge, very nice route. Yeah. Okay, Derthys has got his desert big as well. It's nice to see him getting that right now. All right, first small key on top of Spec Rock is ice. Okay, well. That one's another one that's nice to have, but not like a big deal small key.
It's nice for routing purposes with the Somaya.
Yeah.
Both runners should make quick work of it anyway.
Once we can get into ice, we'll get there eventually.
At some point we'll need to, otherwise we've got bigger problems.
Yeah. Okay, Kaesden's gonna get into the TR portal. We haven't had any more keys for TR to pop up yet, so no additional access here. We're going just for that visible small key. Watch it just be a TR small, though,
Would be good as well, because it opens quite a lot, quite a few checks inside TR. You'll need at least 3. Good thing as well is that TR is a crystal, so you will not have to look in the GT for TR small.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And what's this
Moment
one
of
up
truth.
here? Anything good? It is. There's a TR small. How about that? He's opting not to go for it. All right. Fair enough.
Quite understandable, because at this stage, when you've got 2, do you go up to Laser Breach, or do you rather decide on opening the big chest, the
I
big
think
key chest?
with two, I probably just go big chest, mimic cave, and call it okay there. But I'd rather wait for 3 ideally, because with 3 you can skip lava chest and just clear the dungeon, and then just hope that nothing's in lava.
And you potentially hope that at the end of the day you're able to go mode that dungeon before
Ideally,
going
yeah.
inside the GT. But
Okay.
so
Kaesden starting in village looks like we're gonna do this whole long route of Smith Chain all the way down.
does make sense. You're still looking for the big key of Eastern, big key of Maya, looking for flute, looking for fire rods. You're almost bound to do these checks anyway. So having them done in a nice, as you pointed it earlier, it's a nice route where you're doing one after the other, no downtime, no back and forth. It's just one long straight line.
He's got his skull small from hammer pegs.
And we've got Derthys. I think Derthys didn't do the Smith chain. He did the Smith, I think, but not the purple chest.
No. He's going to be ahead and getting into desert, but Kaesden will be thoroughly wrapping up this whole route.
Yeah. Kaesden also has the advantage compared to Derthys that he did pod already. Derthys hasn't done it yet.
Mm-hmm. I wonder if Derthys is thinking like he might know that he's maybe feeling a bit behind and wants to kind of just try to play ahead in the logic, just like skip some of these overworld checks and go for desert, go for the crystal dungeon or the clearable dungeon. Maybe make up some time by skipping some stuff in the overworld that doesn't end up being checked.
That's usually a good tactic. Not necessarily the right one, but that just depends on how it is shuffled. You know, it's nothing you can predict before.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, if things are on the way, then you're good, because you're able to skip so many checks left and right, concentrate on the dungeons, and sometimes these few checks are what make the difference in a race. We saw, for example, a few days earlier, it was a seed from the main tournament, Big Dunker against Tricky, where Tricky opted to not do the hookshot cave, and won with maybe even 20 or 25 seconds on his opponent.
Mm-hmm.
Where if he did the hookshot cave, that would have been 25 seconds the other way around.
Yeah.
So this kind of decisions are what makes.
Ooh, there's Swamp Small on left side desert on the big key in the big chest.
That's really great for Derthys.
Yeah, that's that's nice to find no matter where it is. Like you're just like, oh, okay, fine. I'll have to check Swamp. That's just now a full clearable dungeon.
Yeah,
I believe we have the
small
Swamp
key, big key.
Yeah.
That will put him further away from the end of the Smith chain and Bombo's tablet, which would not be a bad thing, because we saw that on Kaesden's side. It didn't yield anything interesting.
Yeah.
Money or maybe hard PCs. So totally skippable.
Yeah, if Derthys commits to the skipping of those checks, then that's just time gained right there. So it's good for him to just stick with that if he does. They're just a little bit ahead in desert, but yeah, he does still have to clear pod and get back there and take care of that dungeon. So I think we still have a bit of a lead for Kaesden overall still.
Indeed, a short lead, especially when we look at other facts such as TR is opened. 2 checks have already been done on Kaesden's side, which means that it will be faster inside the dungeon. or at least the early part of the dungeon. But we're not there yet. We're not there yet.
Comes Lammo fight. Two slashes from the gold sword each, and we'll kill it. A little bit awkward with the knockback, though. It's kind of hard to get a 1 cycle. 2 will take... Oh, almost 2. We'll take 3. Lambos are tricky.
We can see also later on Kaesden's side, maybe Kaesden will opt for the Ice Rod strat.
Oh, Desert Dry Pendant. All right. That takes care of our knowledge. That tells us ice is our other crystal.
Alright, so potentially the GT could only have the flute when it comes.
Yeah, basically.
When it comes to progression items.
Considering Mire, Desert, and Eastern end up being our pendants, yeah. Flute and GT would be a bit gross because then we'd have to do that and then go do Mire. But I guess at that point you're doing Mire as a Gomo dungeon, assuming you've got the big key for it, so it's not terrible. Mire's a very quick Gomo dungeon.
Indeed, and actually not that bad because you get your flute, you clear the GT, you activate your flute, you do Mire, and then you just need to save and quit after Mire, and you're just in front of Ganon.
Yeah.
Wouldn't be that bad actually. I mean, okay, they would have only 7 hearts, but they'd be blue mail at least with the gold sword. That's one phase 1 and 2. Wouldn't be such a bad situation.
Derthys is heading straight into Swamp, saying this is now a full clearable dungeon. This is an objective. Swamp is a very dense dungeon for this number of checks. 10 total items that can be in here, so go right for it. First check is just a compass. Don't really care about those. We don't have any boss shuffle in play here, so we're not concerned about compasses at all. And these runners, they're good enough to know how many checks they have in each dungeon. Kaesden's done with his Lammo fight. Again, they're full heart in the first or the second chest of Swamp. We're starting to get caught up on the health now, finally. 9 and 10, or 9 for each of these so far.
In an hour and 11 minutes, it was about time to to see that bar fill up.
Kaesden said, all right, we're done with this. We got our Swamp Small. You've got your portal still here. You can actually just do a little run back over here, and that'll get you into Swamp just a little bit quicker.
Yeah, so it's a route that plays really well for Kaesden. Even though he had a few extra checks, he's really not far behind Derthys on his Swamp dip.
Yeah.
And the advantage of an extra dungeon cleared already. Still quite.
Big 300 in the compass chest of Swamp. We know we're full clearing because we're still missing what 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 items at least, maybe 6 if no, maybe 6 if Mire like really needs bombos or something. Yeah, we're missing several items, so you don't full clear Swamp. You don't not full clear Swamp here. Yeah. There's so much to find still.
Indeed. And come to think of it, so apart from the potential flute in GT, the big key of Mire could also be there.
Potentially, yeah. Just having a bit of trouble with the setup here with the block. There you go.
Yeah, so let's hope that Swamp has something. I mean, if Swamp doesn't have any items, any progressions, then we would be only down to Turtle Rock, right?
Yeah, potentially.
Although,
Can't think of much.
A red bomb.
Oh yeah, we are gonna have a red crystals after swamp. This routes well actually. If you feel like you need to do pyramid fairy after swamp, like that's the best time to do it.
Especially after having done Aga 1. I mean, even if you find progression here. So let's imagine, Adilor, you get the fire rod here. Do you then rush for Skullwoods and then to Turtle Rock, or would you still stop for a second and first do the Pyramid Fairy?
I want another small key before I go for TR. I want at least 3, and I think I'm pretty much sure we've only seen 2 TR smalls.
Indeed.
So if I had 3 TR smalls and then I'm suddenly like, okay, Skull's now clearable, TR is now its prize is obtainable, like maybe. I mean, still being like -4 or 5 items, I'm probably still doing Pyramid Fairy just to get it wrapped up at this point though. Derthys getting into the back of swamp here. Still looking see if his dungeon has any goods for us. There's a rupee and a rupee.
So 8 items seen so far, 8 times trash, right?
Really coming up quite dry for a dungeon that is made a lot of water. Oh, there's a shovel. All right, there's some potential there. The one good thing we find in the swamp is a fetch quest item. Ugh.
Yep. That's something for the chat. Something to feast on.
First shield also in the big key chest of swamp at an hour 15-ish.
Yeah, this needs to be a bit careful in this boss fight. It's lost already a few hearts.
Okay, they're just not having either rod to make kind of a quick kill, and Argus has to just deal with sword slashes. And a small key to pod. All right, there's pod small 6 on Argus. All right, neat.
Alright, so 6 for us, 5 for Derthys, but that could entice him to go and finish the dungeon. He's got everything to do it now. He's got the mirror to do a faster navigation.
I don't know, if you're Derthys, you've been inside pod and Eastern. I think you might be trying to hold off until you find the Eastern big to make that an efficient trip of just clearing those 2 dungeons. I mean, from our perspective, we know there's nothing else in pod. Like, he's not going to find anything more there.
But from his perspective, he's got, I think, 4 checks.
Oh, yeah,
he still has 5 checks open there.
That's true, actually. Yeah.
But actually, that would route quite well for him to go first for the Pyramid Fairy and then go to pod. That's not a huge time sink.
Yeah. Might go for it, yeah.
Especially since he's looking for a few more items than Kaesden. Apparently Kaesden has 3 TR small.
I've only seen 2. It might be just a tracker error. I mean, unless we missed one somewhere, I'm pretty sure I've only seen 2 TR smalls. So Kaesden getting a really nice most of Zero Cycle Argus. Didn't quite get there because Zero Cycle Argus is hard, but he got most of it.
Yeah, it's already hard with a fire rod, which is the optimal setup. But then if you take the ice rod and the lag that is tied to it, nice feat.
All right, shovel. We're gonna get this check immediately. It is a small key to Ice Palace. Okay, whatever. Well, I mean that if you're paying attention to logic, I guess for ice, that's both the small keys. So hooray.
Okay, so we do have indeed 3 small of TR.
Oh, there was one in Castle. Oh, good call. Okay, thank you. I missed marking that one, I guess. Okay, yeah, we do. You're right.
Yeah, many thanks to our tracker, Laura Linda, for reminding us of where things are. Or where.
As good as I try to take notes, sometimes I miss one somewhere. All right, thank you, yes. All right, so that is, yeah, with 3 TR smalls, I mean, yeah. Just missing a fire rod for the dungeon full clear then at this point. And yeah, we've got Derthys going for the turn-in of the big bomb on Pyramid.
And Kaesden is going for the TR play. So that's going to be quite interesting.
Yeah. I mean, if Derthys comes up with a fire rod right now, you're thinking, Small key to GT, and oh well, that's not much of anything there. We get a refill. Hey, blue refill. That's at least something. Free blue potions. We never say none of those. Okay, yeah, it's Is this really all we have left? Is just this turtle rock dip at this point?
Looks like it. If I look at the tracker on Derthys' side, there are only the checks that we've already seen from Kaesden perspective, plus some mountain checks, basically the mirror lock checks that we've also already seen from Kaesden. And Kaesden only has TR open from his perspective, so nothing we've missed. It's gonna be either a flute or a fire rod or a bombos here.
Yeah. Yeah, this is a bit gross, but I mean we've certainly seen this kind of stuff before where the game is asking you to go into Turtle Rock with no fire rod and just 3 small keys and says, okay, go find your next progression here. And just watch it just be, like a flute or something, not the fire rod that says, okay, now you get to double dip TR again later. But I think at that point, at least you're dipping TR as your last dungeon, and you just go straight to GT, ideally. So.
That's the dream of every runner whenever they're running an uninverted mode.
Yeah. So 3 TR smalls and the big key, you can at least just go kill the boss and opt to skip lava chest, and that is what Kaesden is precisely doing. Saying if that 4th small key pops up, lava chest is then in logic. Until then, most runners tend to be okay with skipping it and just going for the rest of the dungeon, getting it all knocked out, and then you just isolate lava chest, no big deal. It's fine.
If lava chest has something, you would have already gotten the small key before that, since we are in last locating territories.
Stop by a quick little stop into Mimic Cave. Where we will find a big key to Eastern? No, Ice Palace. Well, that's like, again, you're paying attention to logic and Ice Palace. You get all the keys now. We still need access to Ice Palace. Come on, game. Stop it.
It's really interesting that it takes that long, because usually you get at least either bombos or the fire rod way earlier. You're 1 hour 20, you've got everything but not the access.
Yeah.
How?
And you're thinking, like, as soon as you've got access to ice, it's usually a nice dungeon to dip. Like, it's a fairly quick 8 checks. It's just a desirable dip. Like,
and I mean, you're in TR, you're nearing the laser bridge,
Yeah. Where's our ice access? Well, I mean, probably laser bridge at this point, because we don't have a fire rod. I mean, if it's fire rod, it's nice, because then you just get to finish the dungeon here, and then you go to ice next, and you kind of know what you're doing.
I think that's either going to be a flute or a fetch quest in the form of the mushroom or the powder.
Yeah.
Because that seed has been railroading us hard at the beginning, but now it's getting a bit cheeky.
Mm-hmm.
Got a feeling. Some nice moments with like routing. Hey, here's your desert key, and here's the swamp key, and you can do everything at once in this area. But now it's hey, how about you travel a bit more?
Okay, all right, laser bridge. You have a map to desert and half magic. Well, that's nice to see. We like it. Okay, boop the red hard hat there. Yep, there's the flute, of course, and maybe a double. Nope, literally just the flute. That completely tracks. Yep. All right, well, cool. That's at least something to do. We go to Meyer next.
Indeed.
And I mean, At this point, I'm assuming we have the medallion for Meyer. We must have the medallion for Meyer, right?
I wouldn't put it.
Or
I
it's
wouldn't
in Meyer's
expect it. I
shed.
mean, you could get in Meyer's shed the fire rod to access Skullwoods and or Ice Palace, or even worse, you get the big key of Eastern. I mean, there's potential for trolling still. The seed has just already started showing its nasty side with his flute.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, at least the flute will not be in GT.
Yeah.
That's the silver lining.
You get to use it at least a little bit here. Yeah, it's kind of late, but like, you're gonna find it at some point because you got to get into Meyer. So it's nice to see it earlier because then you get to use it to get around. But we'll take it whenever, I guess. Kaesden no doubt flutes directly to 6 here because that's the one big thing that's unlocked by getting the flute. Peek into Meyer Shed, see if we can access Meyer itself. Meyer itself, of course, we're still missing the big key, so it's not a completely clearable dungeon. So, I mean, I think if you see Bombos for its entry here, you're okay with that right now? No, it's Ether. All right. Fair enough, video game. Fair enough. And big key to... Okay, well, fine. Sure. Fair enough. Now we can clear Meyer. No problem.
And that's actually the best that could happen to the runners. They now know that they'll be able to simply rush the GT.
What's this small key here?
It's ALttPR.
Ah, GT3. Okay. 3 or 4, one of those two. It's at least 3. We don't care at this point, really. Once you got like 2 GT smalls, you're probably good to go. You know how to use keys efficiently if you play this game, and you can just not use keys badly, and you're okay to go. Yeah. Yeah.
Meanwhile, Derthys finished pod.
That's all 4 actually. All 4 GT smalls.
Wow.
Yeah.
So that could hint at a really late GT big key.
Kaesden has 3 because he hasn't had the Pyramid Fairy. They each have 3, so yeah. But yeah, 3 GT smalls is plenty.
So Derthys, having finished pod, is now going to his last possible checks, which are all on the mountain.
Pope was being a bit wild in Meyer 2 for Kaesden, but overall an okay. Not bad at the room overall. Yeah.
Okay, so now that we are being a bit, I wouldn't say, actually, yeah, I'm gonna say it, we're a bit bottlenecked. We really have to go inside this dungeon to then open access to the rest. We now see the lead has been growing on Kaesden's side, especially since we're now in a kind of straight line when it comes to progression.
Been really linear at several points. Yeah. You're like you said. You're right. You can see now that Derthys has cleaned up pod. You can just see now that how much the lead is, because Derthys has to get in here and get all the way down to Laser Bridge to get the flute, and then get into Meyer area. So.
Yeah, the seed is actually quite cheeky again, come to think of it, with Meyer, because you're doing Meyer with the lamp, so no spooky.
Yep. It's denied us that opportunity. Not that the logic knows anything about spooky, but yeah. We like to think that it's being intentionally mean to us.
So we're now looking logically for a small key of Skullwood still. We're looking for the fire rod. Ideally the fire rod, I mean, at this stage you don't want to see Bombos.
You want that fire rod just because then you don't care about the other medallion, yeah.
Yeah, so 2 required items are the fire rod and the big key of Eastern, and then we would be able to rush through the rest of the seed.
Yep. As a reminder, you might be thinking, if you're not familiar with the mode, like, what about the GT? Well, there's the fire rod in Meyer lobby. What about the GT big? Well, the GT big will still be in the basement for all the modes in this tournament, main tournament and challenge cup, where there are shuffled big keys. We have still guaranteed that it's in the basement, just to kind of preserve that bit of just hunt the GT basement for the big key. It's kind of a classic part of Link to the Past Random Racing. So we preserved that this year for all modes.
The final potential variants to flip a race for GT routing decisions.
Yeah.
Okay, so with this fire rod, you've got access now to 2 of the 3. Well, most dungeons can be now finished. Only Eastern cannot be. So, do you go first to Eastern, or you go first? Not Eastern. Do you go first to Skullwoods to finish it, or first to Ice?
I think I like Skull first, because if you get lucky and it's in Skull, you can then just get a complete go mode Ice Palace.
Yeah.
But I mean, I can also see just going for Ice because it has more check density. But like, if you get it in Ice, then like you're not really improving your trip into Skull, because that dungeon is just, you know, done. Kaesden's setting up alternate Spooky here, so he will go down and dash turn with the fire rod. Got it. Nicely done. That one's a bit more technical to get than just like walking up and firing left at the anti-fairy, because you have to go low enough in the room to get the splash to go far enough up, because it's adjusted farther by avoiding a Samaria block. But you have to be north enough in the room for it to actually like hit the crystal switch, because if you're too far enough down, the switch, I guess, isn't loaded. So yeah. A little more technical to pull off.
That coupled with the hover it did in pod, Kaesden is really showing his level of execution, knowledge of the game.
Yeah, Kaesden
really nice
was one of those runners like myself who like just didn't quite get there in terms of qualifying. Like we might call ourselves like quartile 5, but yeah, like there are a lot of strong runners in Challenge Cup this year who were very close to qualifying but just didn't quite get there because of, you know, how competitive this field is. Like Link to the Past Random Racing is still giant, and we keep getting more good players like every year. We keep intentionally making really good runners through Mentor Tournament. It seems like this community still just continues growing. Like there are more great people joining it than are people like retiring out of it. So the field is only getting stronger, it seems like.
Indeed. I remember a few opponents I had last year, even in my group, that are now not in the Challenge Cup anymore, because they went into the main.
Yep. We've seen several mentors this year who are just like launched straight into main tournament. We've got some good examples of like really strong showings, like Bread, who just qualified right into quartile 2, despite coming from mentor, like the last mentor tournament. Like he had a really strong showing in mentor too. So I wasn't surprised at all. But yeah, we've seen some great examples. And Kaesden is indeed opting to go directly into Ice Palace. Nice bomb setup for the Pen Gator room. Not strictly necessary when you got at least 3 swords. You can just walk in and spin and then hookshot either 2, but it's still quite fine to pull off the bomb setup, and it looks cool. We have the keys, all the keys for the dungeons. There's no reason to switch. We can just take the full clear route. And we start off with a map in the second check.
So where is that? Where is that big key of Eastern?
Yep. And quite likely it's in here, considering how much we have left in the game.
It's quite likely when it comes to statistics. However, the one way for the game to be trolling, is this last Turtle Rock key.
Yeah, the TR
could
small
be
4. Yeah.
In the lava chest.
It could, which would be I I mean, considering how people tend to pull it throughout this dungeon in Key Sanity, you go clear it except for lava when you have 3 keys. You gotta assume your opponent probably did the same thing, so it's not like you're thinking, "Oh man, what if my opponent got this way before me?" So you gotta think about like kind of the meta plays. Yeah.
Someone in chat is pointing out, thank you, Rico Sniper 99. For whatever reason, I totally got blinded by the fact that Eastern is a pendant, and therefore
it could be
in
right.
GT.
You're right. You'd have to think about the prizes still. That is entirely possible. Which, yeah, actually, given that, I mean, either way, you still have to clear Ice and Skull. I mean, but you're definitely thinking like, oh, just getting a GT, because that's where, technically speaking, most of the density is at this point. But I don't think you'll leave any checks standing in Ice Palace or anything. Like, you don't gamble Ice Tea at this point.
Frankly, you don't, because spending a bit more time in one dungeon and make sure that you don't have to dip it again at the really late stage of a game. It's important, especially if you find the key here in Ice Palace. But, or let's better said, the key is in Ice Palace, but you decide to skip it because you're gambling on it being a GT. You are now committing yourself to full clear of GT.
Yeah.
The whole basement, the whole climb. And if you've got an early GT big key, that's a bad feeling.
Yeah, the GTBK position itself could make that kind of a moot point, or it could be just be in Hope Room, and then you think, well, do I have to actually do the rest of this dungeon, or do I just climb now? You have to make some tough decisions, and the more times you have to make tough decisions in Rando, the more it feels bad when you just miss the one thing you're really looking for. Big key to Eastern on Cold Stare? No. Skull, get out of here. Well, it's good that we have it now.
And it's good that Kaesden decided to first go to Ice Palace and then Skull Woods.
Yeah, I guess this was the correct
against
decision.
our advice.
Yeah. Well, now he's gonna mirror head to Skull. We'll clear this out and see if we're heading to GT for the Eastern Big, or if we get to clear that dungeon before we're going with the mountain one last time. We still have TR to wrap up too. Did we find TR small 4 in?
Yeah, we found the final 4 in
nice.
in the room just after the icebreaker chest. Meanwhile, we see Derthys did his full dip of Turtle Rock, activated the flute, and now is backtracking a bit and going on some checks he hadn't done before. I find it good. He's doing the fastest possible purple chest.
Just floating with it, yeah.
But we know it will not yield anything interesting for him, sadly.
Yeah, skipping purple until you've got a flute popped up to make it fast, especially when you know you're an AD, like you're gonna get that flute at some point, is I mean it's a reasonable decision. All right, Kaesden only has 3 TR smalls, right? From he hasn't gotten Pyramid Fairy, but you know he's got 3, so whatever. He can clear the dungeon. Wait, no, hang on. Hang on. No, let's.
He's got 4.
No, because
his tracker is showing us as well as 4.
Island, and where's the 4th one? Thieves Front. Okay, yeah, he has 4. Yeah, it's the GT small. Yeah, it's missing in Pyramid Fairy. Yeah, don't open the middle door. You're okay. Oh, Derthys missed the mirror. Didn't get the mirror block delete. I hate when that happens. It feels bad every time. I've done that at least once, and I'm just like, ugh. It's so just mash the mirror. It should be easy, but sometimes it just doesn't. It's weird.
Or whatever, that's like a sub-second or whatever sub-frame that just didn't want to accept it.
Yeah.
And that's the kind of thing, it has happened to every single runner at this once.
Yeah, it's just one of those dumb little things. You're just like, ugh, fine. You know, Kaesden is in the back of Skull, dropping in to fight the Moth. Yeah, 2 dash pokes maybe. I love that. I love when you have a tempered or gold sword and with boots you can just kind of shove yourself into Moth's hitbox as it's going up, and then mash your boots button. You might get 2 pokes, and if the positioning is just right, you get your 2 hits against the block, and that's just the perfect Moth fight. Love to see it.
That's a wet dream of any NMG runner.
Yeah, right.
if you're already on PB pace and you get that quick, you're like, okay, don't sweat, don't sweat, and
Don't freak out now.
Yeah.
To keep the nerves down at that point, we realize, you just got a potentially ton of time off of that. Yeah.
That's Aga with 0 blue balls level of good.
Well, there's Bombos in the Skull Bridge. A bit too late.
I don't remember from whom I read that, but something about the rule of fire. But for whatever reason, all too often, fire is blocked by fire. So Bombos locks fire rod all the other way around.
There's a rule of fire belief that goes around the community a lot. Yeah. I don't personally subscribe to it, but I mean, confirmation bias will show you that it happens often enough that you can believe in it. Yeah. I think Kaesden's cleaning up Pyramid Fairy here before committing to the mountain, which I mean is pretty reasonable.
You're looking from one small key. As we said earlier, when Derthys routed his Pyramid Fairy check, these are 2 items. It's in logic, and if you've got the Eastern big key there, then you are sparing yourself a lot of pain in the GT.
And something to note, actually,
makes perfect sense.
That Kaesden actually did have his red crystals mismarked. He had ice marked as a red crystal. So that's, I mean, he may have done it earlier if he'd had swamp marked as red instead of ice. But I mean, as we know, it didn't burn him. He's just missing a GT small, so whatever. Chat did point that out, and we can see from his tracker he has ice and Hera marked as reds. So. Yep, and there's his 4th GT small. All dungeon completely logically open.
So now heading for Turtle Rock.
Yep.
We'll be able to finish it. We'll be able. So now the question. You only have 2 checks available inside the dungeon now. You've got the lava chest and the boss, which are both on a totally different routes. And lava chest takes quite some time now.
Yeah, you could, if you're feeling confident, you could. I don't know. I guess it depends on how you're feeling. Like if you're feeling like you're maybe behind you to make a play. I don't know. I feel like if I'm Kaesden here, I'm feeling fairly confident about how I've played. Like I don't think I've not made any like execution errors. And the routing seems like it's been pretty solid. And like you've realized that the seat has been really linear in a lot of places. You might think, I don't know, maybe I'm feeling good about my position. I don't need to gamble. I can just be thorough and make sure I'm not missing something that would completely flip the race against me. So.
Yep, there were no items with high variance when it comes to the probability of finding it early or late. So yeah, if you're, I think Kaesden is quite confident in his execution. I mean, he's also showed it a bit with the alternate spooky, with the hover.
Yeah.
So yeah, it would be actually quite interesting to see him.
Ooh,
oh, but
berry.
No, that's. Oh, I like what he's doing. He's skipping the right side. His settings, I think he's gonna do the lava chest and then do the boss.
Yeah.
And if he doesn't get the big key, then he'll do the right side because he spawns straight away, straight in front of it again.
Yeah, because we're go -1 at this point. Maybe you just get lucky and the Eastern Big is on Trinex, then you don't have to do anything else in the dungeon. Yeah, but if you don't get it, then you can clean up the 2 top checks because you get spit out back at the top anyway for killing the boss.
So meanwhile, Derthys is on his completion of Misery Mire. Needs to be careful here. 3 hearts only. Vitreous can be tricky.
Still haven't seen powder pop up either, so we don't have that ability to get heals off the anti-fairies.
Yeah, didn't even get the mushroom to fake powder.
Oh, there's powder in lava.
Well.
Okay, well, I want to say Derthys has a blue potion at least. Though I know he got a blue.
He's got a blue potion.
It's on his.
He's got a blue
box
potion.
Right there. Yeah.
He needs to remember it.
I think he just use it right now because Vitreous will still deal 3 hearts of contact damage. I think he just do it and not worry about it. Yeah, there you go. Okay, just do the safety, please. Thank you. I don't want to see you die on Ventress.
I mean, it's happened already once on his blind fight, so yeah.
And Ventress is a much longer boss to get back into and try again.
I'm not a huge fan of him having the mirror equipped so long. Thanks for switching back to the bow.
It's scary, yeah.
Oh! Yep.
He quick swap errored. Oh no. Oh, I think that's... He stopped... I think... Is he stopped his timer? It might be an FF.
Yeah.
That feels bad. Yeah.
You're there on the... on that boss. I mean, that's happened to almost everybody. Most runners, it happened already once. Either they're on Argus. Yeah.
Yeah, that feels bad. All right, so yeah, Kaesden does still have to play it out, of course, and actually finish the seed to get the win. Yeah, honestly, it's understandable, dude. Because that's one of those things. It's just, yeah, I feel you there. I've certainly had those moments myself.
Yeah. A few deaths here and there, a few double dips where you think, hey, that might have not been necessary, and yeah, mirroring that late in the game, it's understandable.
Nice textbook Trinix fight from Kaesden. Gets the back door and the spin on the head, just this as fast as it goes. And we get the compass. We're going to check those top two checks in TR. And then scoot on over into GT.
Yep. So, two big, we are looking now for two big keys.
One of them is guaranteed to be in GT, and the other one is now, at this point, looks like it's shuffled into GT, unless it's in one of these, in the roll room here in TR. Is he not checking roll room?
It is, there's one thing still possible that's also a bit interesting. We are still missing one small key in this game. Small key of Hera.
Oh yeah, Hera basement. Yeah, I don't get why he's skipping. Maybe he just forgot about the roller room. He's just going right for GT. I don't know.
Or he's maybe going for probabilities.
He may have also he may be aware of the race room and seeing that the FF has happened, and he realizes he just
not yet, because for him with the delay. It hasn't happened yet.
You're right. Yeah, the delay. Yeah, we still have about 8 minutes or ish until he realizes that. In terms of what we see, yeah, maybe he just forgot about it, or he's just gambling based on the density here. I guess we can ask him later about it.
Yeah. So what's a bit annoying is that compared to normal added keys, if you're looking for the big key to GT, you can then do this solution, and then if you haven't found it here, then you go back to TR. But in GT, you also have the climb, and if you don't find the climb, you're not gonna mirror to go back to TR. That's gonna be a bit annoying then.
Yep. Because the only way you go back to TR now at this point, there's that Hera small, is to mirror out of here, run back across the mountain, get those checks, and then come back to GT. I mean, there's Eastern Mirror. All right. Okay, that's fine.
So that was the right call.
Yep, he made the right play. Now we just got to hunt the GT BK, and then we can climb. That is, we can effectively call that go mode now, because we know the GT BK is here in the basement somewhere. So finish this up, go over to Eastern, wrap that up, and then we can. He needs 3 more hearts first. He needs to get to 17. You're right, Amarith. Is that our last Mire Small? Yep, there it is. Naturally, Mire's a pendant dungeon, so that key could be basically anywhere. There's the GT big. Yep, we're good to go. One last check for a bow? Nah, big 20. I mean,
that
the
would
bow
have been
is
interesting. Getting the silvers now, like, okay, well.
you need to gain an even faster at this point. Yeah.
That's even at this stage of a game and at this with the level of these runners, I think it would be safe to say actually, you've got all this set up. Just type .done when you drop into a cannon, and that's good.
Yeah, basically, like, Ganon's gonna be as quick as possible. I mean, not having the silvers, of course, but yeah. This will be very fast. I like that we're seeing 5 on the GT key counter while we're climbing. You don't usually see that. That's I love it. 5
joy of key
smalls
sanity.
climbing. Yeah. So we got the pot key, and then we didn't need to open any small key doors. Like, just 5. It's cool. I love it. You could actually make it 6 if you want to be really funny and claim the small key from the mini Helma. You'd never see 6. Yeah. It's the kind of thing I would do. I'd be like, oh, I see a 5 there. I have to make it 6. I would definitely do it. Nice bow shot to keep the red Zezek in the way to dash through it. Really nice gauntlet overall.
Yep.
A little bit of extra lag on that transition there from the sprites that dropped. That was interesting. You usually don't see lag exiting that screen. One cycle landmo, nicely done. And up into the Wizrobe's floor.
Yeah, magic levels are still good, half magic. So no worry when it comes to lighting up the torches in the next rooms. I don't think he has a blue potion, but it's not gonna be a matter.
I don't think he got a refill in Pyramid Fairy, and I know he
didn't do the refill in Pyramid Fairy.
Yeah, I think he used the one free potion we got too.
Yeah, he used one potion in part just to get the sword beams.
Yeah.
For the on the way to Elma.
All right, 6 keys, 6 small keys. No,
nope.
Fair, understandable. Fair enough. Oh, one chest, sure, the left one, the close one.
Would be funny if he opens the other chests, and then later Ganon says, "Did you find the?" did...
The castle
okay.
small isn't
okay.
I'm just.
Okay, game.
Oh, that's funny as heck.
So Zelda fell in logic only after certain crystals is not something you see every day. Wow.
That's funny. I mean, we didn't find anything that was behind that. No, actually, no. The Mire Small is behind that key, actually. Logically. There's a Mire Small behind that. That tracks.
Wow.
Wait, is it? No. Was the Mire Small in the chest or the second? No,
I don't remember.
It was one of those. It was in the front of castle. I don't know if it was all the way. It might be there. Regardless, we found a Mire Small in GT anyway, so whatever. Pendant dungeons do that all the time.
So we're aiming for sub 2 hours completion here. Which is quite a feat, especially when we look at the time it took us to find the fire rod.
I got 2 patterns of being a bit rude.
Okay, so we were potentially aiming at a sub 2 hours if Kaesden keeps on like this.
There's a double. There's a 0. You get that one? No. Aga 2 is a hard boss. It's so random. I mean, this just happens. There. Oh,
Yeah.
wait, one more.
So sometimes, like you'll play 2 seeds after one another. One you'll have a perfect 3-3. Another one you can have a lot of zeros, especially if they go out of sync.
Yeah. Once they get
randomized.
it gets really weird. Yeah. Like, you can have 2 runners in a race have like the same Aga 2 fights, but one of them just like gets or misses a hit on the early cycle, and that changes the desync so much that they have radically different fights. Like, that desync alone just messes with it so much.
Sometimes it's helpful to ensure a triple, but sometimes it just makes things really, really wild.
Yeah. All right, Kaesden gets to now flute over to Eastern, finish that up, and then we'll be back over here in a moment to take care of the Ganon fight.
The question here is, do you then go back to the escape and climb to get the portal to go back to Ganon, or would it be better to flip to 5?
I think you flip 5 and save and quit. Yeah, I think that's the best way to do it now. Because now that since we've killed Aga, we got the mirror, you can save and quit in the Dark World, it puts you on the pyramid. That's going to be your fastest way to get back to the top. No, chat's asking why he's doing Eastern. This isn't all dungeons, so yeah, the mode is we're near the end here. We can recap what the mode is. This is our FAD keys. GT is like the full title of it. All the keys are shuffled except for the Aga Tower Smalls, and the GT Big is still kept in the GT basement, so you have to hunt for it. And the goal is all dungeons, so you have to clear all dungeons, including Aga Tower and GT, before Ganon becomes vulnerable. Leo says Flute 6. Oh, Flute 6 actually, that is better. You're right, actually. That's less clicks on the flute menu, and it's a little bit faster getting the portal. Good call.
Especially with the gold sword, phase 1 and 2 will be one-shots.
Yes.
All the ways lead to Ganon.
Assuming our second bow here isn't on the Armos Knights, we'll have to grind out phase 4 with some spins, but it won't be too bad still. All right, one last boss to kill. Armos quick kill. Oh, well, so much for that.
I'll bleed the thief once again.
This happens to everyone. Freebie! Oh, and there is our green pendant after all this time. I don't think we're going to be seeing what that turns into. If Ganon says Light World for the bow, then funny green pendant.
Yeah, I mean, it can be on the pedestal, it can be on the powder, it can be on green pendant, it can be in Hera as well.
Turn it in. I don't know if he's... let's see, 155. Would he have seen the race room by now? I think so.
I mean, he's got 4 minutes to Ganon with Gold Sword. That's going to be a sub 2. Except if he gets a nasty hit from Ganon or get thrown into the pit. Should be a sub 2.
Yeah, we have not seen what's on PED now. We'll have to wait until the credits to see what that item is.
Nice phase 2.
Yep, good dash hit sting inside the fire rat circle.
Nice
good
dodging.
dodges. Very nice.
And I'm quite surprised that Ganon didn't spawn the fire bat here, like the spinning bat. I found it quite late for hit, but
yeah, that was...
The game found it good.
Undoubtedly a few frames away from getting the fire bat spawn, yeah. Ganon. Okay, you need to chill. Alright, moment of truth. Oh, it's in tower. Okay, they're just in the basement. That's fair enough. Or on the climb. One of the checks
I think that's the basement, because normally it says atop my tower when it's in the climb.
Is there a difference?
There's a difference. I'm not sure if it's mode dependent, but I know that there is a text for the climb.
Okay.
Atop my tower.
Okay. I'm willing to believe it.
It's either that or Mandela effect is tricking me.
Maybe. Entirely. I'm willing to believe it because I don't know that I've seen a difference there, but I'm not going to convince myself I haven't. So. All right, we are almost done with phase 4 here. Just a couple more
thing is that usually in most modes, if the silvers are in the climb, you've gotten them.
Yeah. There we go.
That was a fast phase 4. Wow.
Yeah, he was on top of it. Kaesden continued to execute very well throughout this entire seed. And we're going to get that sub 2 after all.
And GG to Kaesden.
His official finish time in the race will be 1 hour, 58 minutes, and 16 seconds. And that's going to be his win. He'll be 3-1 in the group now.
And with this seed is also sending a statement to all of the other potential place 1 or 2 in the group. And we're also joined by him. Hello, Kaesden. GG on your race and on your win.
Hey, GG.
All right. I got one big question. Was skipping the TR roller room a conscious decision?
No.
Okay. Fair enough.
Nope. I was more just focused on, like, do I go back for lava chest or not now that I have the key? Like, it's a time commitment, and thinking about that. Completely forgot right side existed, so.
Okay, fair enough.
I could have very well ended up full clearing GT basement and been like, well, if it's not here, what I skip, and I probably would have figured it out pretty quick, but
yeah.
Glad it was just in GT, because that would have been pretty bad.
Yeah, that was a really nice GT overall. Just right side for the Eastern Big, and then Stalfos room for the Big.
It was real nice finding the Eastern Big first, because if you don't, then it's like,
if you go left first,
just got that powder out of lava chests. Like, what do you do after this? Do you full clear?
Yeah, it could have been a much longer GT if you chose a different route for sure. Yeah. But no, that was. I mean, were you feeling that seed being very linear to a bunch of points? You realize you're like, man, this seed's really railroading us a bunch of times.
It was. Like, there were definitely ways where you could miss the route that it was sending you on, but it did feel pretty linear for the most part. It's like, as soon as I was getting to the end of what I was doing, it would just give me something and be like, hey, well, I guess we're gonna go do this next or that next.
There was one big difference in both your routings, Derthys and Kaesden. You both did similar light world checks until the seed was quite adamant. It was a Naga seed.
Right.
Or it would have been potentially on Zora, but with the flippers, it was not an option.
Yeah, I was even thinking, it's like, I'll go do this and I'll just Houlihan first. Like, oh, wait, no, I just got flippers. I can't Houlihan anymore. I don't have a glove. I don't have boots. No other setups that I know. So
yeah, for the both of you, it was like about the time you want to go Houlihan for Zora, like it's just slightly too late because you've already got the flippers out of Eastern and saved them. It's like, well, I don't know.
Right.
So you're both almost at the same time doing Aga, and then so you did Aga first, like maybe 20-30 seconds before Derthys, and you go straight for the Hype Cave. Derthys went for a pod dip, and so that's where there was quite a divergence in the routing, because Derthys had to go 2 times inside pod to finish it, so 1 time to dip it, 1 to clear. You went into pod with a perfect pod care package. 5 small keys, the big key, the mirror, the bow, everything.
I thought about going into pod after Aga, but I think we only had 2 smalls, no bow. Like, I just didn't want to commit to it yet. There was enough overworld to go do and just see what I could find and make it better when I did eventually dip, and it worked out pretty well.
And for me, I like to try the play pod after an Aga tower. And when I had 2 keys, I hoped there's something in pod, and no chance, no luck. It was empty in what I can reach. So, but I think it was more logic to do Hype Cave. I agree, but I think I had something to try with different routing, because I know in execution I won't win. So I try I wanted to try the pod before.
Yeah, it's totally reasonable to go in. Like 2 keys, you can do a lot. So I get it, and I've done it before. Probably do it again in the future. It just depends on any given seed. So
Yeah. Pod ended up being surprisingly empty. Even 14 locations in the dungeon, all it really has of value is like the Thieves Small and a GT Small. And you don't really need either of those, so yeah.
And that was also same with Swamp, if I'm not mistaken, that the 10 checks were all garbage.
Yeah, a shovel and a pod small. The pod small's a bit late because the 6th one, you've already cleared the dungeon at that point. Yeah.
Thanks.
It was at this stage when we saw you going into Swamp, we're like, okay, so it's either Swamp, and I mean, it has to be Swamp with the 10 checks, or it's something inside a Turtle Rock without the Fire Rod and so on. And it wasn't with the Laser Bridge once again.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was a little worried about that TR when I finally realized like my progression has to be there. There's nothing else left. Because when I went in the first time with 2 keys, it's perfectly reasonable that you keep going there, steal the key, and go all the way to Laser Bridge. You could have got that flute a lot earlier than I did. So a little scary, but like that kind of play too, especially when you get your 5th pod out of Chain Chomps, I couldn't keep going. Like you don't have a Fire Rod, you only have 2 keys. I couldn't commit to that play at that time.
I hesitated to go tier 2. I did it in a similar case with this afternoon, and yet and I found nothing. I saw okay, I skip this for yet, and
Yes, it's quite interesting because although some items were really late, it was really a bottlenecking seed. Like you really had to. There were not really possibilities to have a part of the map opened for one runner and then another part of the map open for everyone because you did a different check that opens different things. You always had to go back to the same location to then go forward. So low possible variance. Yeah, as I said, a bit bottlenecking.
Yes, it was. We had not many life, and even if we had the butter quite fast, I felt I wasn't in on it's it was hard. I'm sorry.
Yeah, the swords came super fast in this one. Like we had 3 in the light roll just right off the bat. It was like, oh, we have tempered sword inside 15 minutes. It was really nice.
Something like that, yeah. Tempered sword, blue mail, just no health.
Yeah, the hearts
felt like I had
really
no health
slow.
that entire seed. They must all be in GT or something.
Yeah, seems like every race I watch lately, maybe I'm just cursing them by watching, is the hearts just come super slow. I don't know.
All right, are we good to wrap up?
I think so. I don't have any other questions on my mind.
Me neither.
All right then. I want to thank our runners, Kaesden and Derthys. Did a fantastic job with the race. Thank you both so much. Thank you to our commentators, Adalor and Juber, and thank you to our tracker, Lady Laura Linda. Coming up on ZSR at 8:40 p.m. Eastern, we have another Challenge Cup match between Sawyer and Ovidius Naso. That's going to be on this channel in just a few hours. And then tomorrow at 8:30 p.m. Eastern, we have a Zelda 2 Randomizer Max Randall Tournament Grand Finals match between Mirai and Jay Coper. So a couple of things on the schedule there. Hope you find something you want to watch. And with that, we're going to go and sign off here. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. Hope you had a wonderful time and have a fantastic rest of your day. Bye!